So let's have a movie review. This is a 2019 movie called Frankie, directed by Ira Sachs. The cast, and it's a pretty impressive one. Isabelle Huppert plays Francois Clement, aka Frankie. Marisa Tomei is Aline. Jeremy Renier is Frankie's son, Paul Gagny. Pascal Gregory, he plays Michel Gagny, her ex-husband. Brenda Gleeson plays Jimmy, her current husband. Vinette Robertson plays Sylvia Ando, and she is married to Ian, and his name is Arion Baccara. And Carlotti Cotto plays Tiago Mirante, a friend. And we have Senia Nanua, who is Maya. She is the daughter of Sylvia and Ian Ando. And finally, Greg Camere, he's Eileen's boyfriend, Gary. Right, I hope you managed to grasp that family tree. I'll quickly go through it. Frankie's married to Jimmy. Her first husband, Michel, is a homosexual. Frankie's son, Paul, from that marriage is searching for a love. Irene has this new boyfriend, Gary, and the stepdaughter relationship between Maya, Sylvia and Ian is also significant. Sylvia being a stepdaughter of Jimmy's. The movie set beautifully on the Atlantic coast in Portugal, a lovely place called Sintra, an idyllic setting. It's a small coastal town, very quiet, very picturesque, genteel, not many cars and not a lot of noise. It's rather serene really, and it makes the film an appealing watch. Frankie's an actress and facing her imminent mortality. She's been diagnosed with cancer yet again, and the plot focuses on her desire to get all the significant people, friends and family together in one place for the last time. She's got a magnetic personality, very much a reconciler. She's viewed very positively and has an impact on people's relationships, people's loves, and the gathering is very much an unselfish act to impact on them and their relationships. The movie witnesses a collection of vignettes of what love is and where the relationships are at that particular time. We see examples of this. Firstly, the beginning of a relationship. Maya, the young teenager, developing an interest in a young boy, as witnessed on the beach, enjoying the first flirtations of passion. Then two, we see a relationship sliding away. Sylvia's marriage to Ian and an inevitable separation and divorce not far off. Then three, relationships needing more commitment or not, as the case may be, seen with Irene and cameraman boyfriend Greg. Are they going to move on to the next phase, living together, or what? 4, relationships that are sliding towards an inevitable end, with Frankie's pending mortality. Jimmy living in a sort of dream, really, recalling the love for the woman, but hanging on to the nostalgia as a way of coping with the inevitable loss. And 5, the post-divorce scenario with regard to love that's gone wrong between Frankie and her first husband, Michel. And 6, her love for her son, who she desperately wants to develop a meaningful relationship because she's in fear of him being left alone after her passing. And some of the scenes in the movie are more significant than others and are also quite amusing. Some of those amusing scenes then, there's a scenario when Frankie's son throws away a priceless locket of Frankie's whilst they're out walking. His mother's desperate search for it, even though it has absolutely no value to her. She's clearly going to be dying soon. And the son's act of defiance, not showing no interest. His mother's has an inability to put herself in his shoes. And then secondly, Gary and Irene, an amusing scene where Gary is trying to convey his greater commitment and love for her by wanting them to live together. And then a distraction occurs, a large group of people out walking, and Irene manages to lose Gary in the crowd, deliberately so, to avoid responding to his sort of challenge to make a decision about where the relationship moves on to. And then 3, Jimmy, when Frankie's resting and Jimmy sits in the chair watching her, and he gets physically aroused and crawls in next to her. A gentle passion is observed. And then 4, the 2 husbands sharing stories about this woman that has magnetised them. A very personal moment, touched by the finale. Frankie goes on her walk through the town and then proceeds up the hill, which is described as a mountain, as the sunset appears, and almost like magnets, the rest of the gathering proceed to follow her. The camera pans back as the film comes to the end, witnessing them all arriving, and then shortly after making their way back down the hill separately. A metaphor for a wake perhaps, but the person isn't dead, yet very powerful, very quiet and restrained. Frankie handles her pending mortality with a resilience and with few tears. Her friends are grieving around her, but she's still strong, supportive, befriending and helping them resolve their own personal issues. Overall, a nice movie really. Not a movie that you're going to want to watch time and time again. Higher quality acting, it has to be said. A fascinating look at how relationships begin, continue and end throughout life, and I'd recommend it. Its name is Frankie, and it was released in 2019.